This is the tale of the child that will kill his father and marry his own mother. Long ago, in the great city of Kade, surrounded by green hills and strong wooden fences, a joyful cry rang out from the royal home. Inside the queen's hut, Queen Lindy had just given birth to a baby boy. Drums beat in celebration, young women danced, and warriors raised their spears with pride. The people were filled with joy, for a prince had been born to King Bekisitha and Queen Lindiwe. But the joy was cut short. That very evening, the king summoned the royal diviner, the oracle of Quadakuza, a woman known for her powerful visions and bone readings. She cast her bones on a mat made of reeds, closed her eyes, and entered a trance. When she finally spoke, her voice trembled like wind through dry grass. This child will one day kill his father and marry his mother. A silence fell over the royal hut. Horrified by the prophecy, King Bekisitha's heart turned cold. Fearing the future, he made a cruel but desperate decision. He called one of his loyal servants and commanded him to take the newborn far away into the wilderness. There he was to pierce the baby's ankles with sharpened sticks, so the child would not wander, and abandon him to die among the rocks and wild beasts. The servant obeyed almost. He carried the child deep into the forested foothills beyond the river. But when he looked upon the baby's innocent face, he could not bring himself to kill him. Instead, he gently laid the child on a blanket, high on a lonely mountainside, and walked away, whispering a silent prayer to the ancestors. By chance, a kind-hearted herdsman from the neighboring kingdom of Lusiba was tending goats nearby. Hearing the baby's cries, he rushed over and was shocked to find the helpless child with bleeding ankles. The herdsman carried the baby to King Sifo and Queen Zenel of Lusiba, a noble couple who had long desired a child of their own. They welcomed the baby with open arms. Naming him Mpilo, meaning life, they raised him as their own son. They bound his injured feet, and though the scars remained, he grew up believing he was born into royalty. Under their care, he became a wise, strong, and noble prince, respected by all who knew him. Years passed, and Mpilo grew into a young man filled with curiosity and a hunger for truth. One day, while walking among the people, he overheard whispers and mocking jokes from a drunken villager. "He is no true son of the king. Look at those scarred feet." Disturbed and confused, Mpilo confronted his parents, but they evaded his questions. Unable to find peace, he set out on a journey to discover the truth of his origin. He traveled many days until he reached the oracle of Quadakuza, the same ancient seer who had spoken at his birth. When Mpilo asked about his future, the oracle once again cast her bones and stared into the fire. Her voice was grave when she spoke. "You are fated to kill your father and marry your mother." Shaken to his core, Mpilo was terrified. Believing King Sifo and Queen Zenel of Lusiba to be his real parents, he vowed never to return, choosing exile over the risk of committing such horrors. On his long journey through the vast grasslands and rocky passes, Mpilo came to a narrow path where a chariot approached from the opposite direction. An elder, proud and commanding, sat in the chariot, refusing to give way. Words turned to shouts, and anger boiled. The old man lashed out. Mpilo, provoked and defending himself, struck back with deadly force. In a moment of fury, he killed the man and his escorts, unaware that the man he had slain was none other than King Bekisitha, his true father. Eventually, Mpilo reached the great city of Kade, unaware of his blood connection to the land. But the city was in chaos. A monstrous creature, a half-beast, half-spirit called the Mpilo, had cursed the land. It terrorized travelers at the city gates, demanding the answer to a riddle and devouring those who failed. The people were desperate. They promised kingship and honor to whoever could defeat the Mpilo. Mpilo stepped forward. The Mpilo growled and asked its riddle. What walks on 4 legs in the morning, 2 legs at noon, and 3 legs in the evening? With calm wisdom, Mpilo answered, "It is the human who crawls on all 4s as a baby, walks upright as an adult, and uses a walking stick in old age." The creature let out a deafening cry and vanished in a whirlwind of dust and feathers. The people rejoiced. Mpilo was hailed as a hero and offered the throne of Kadi. To seal his position, he was given the hand of the widowed queen, Queen Lindy, to marry. Neither of them knew the truth, and so the prophecy was fulfilled. Mpilo unknowingly married his own mother. Years later, a terrible plague fell upon Kadi. Crops failed, children fell ill, and the skies withheld rain. Seeking answers, Mpilo again summoned the oracle of Quadakuza. This time the bones revealed the full truth. The cause of the plague was not a curse from the ancestors. It was the sin buried within the king's own story. The people learned of the prophecy. Queen Lindy, upon realizing who Mpilo truly was, fell into despair. Racked with guilt and horror, she fled to the sacred grove and took her own life. Mpilo, broken by the truth, blinded himself with a spearhead and walked alone into the wilderness, guided only by a young servant. He left Kadi behind, a fallen king, cursed by fate he had tried so hard to escape. And so, though he had run from the warning, the prophecy had found him. His life became the very path he had feared. The people of Kadi still whisper, "You can flee the mountain, but not the shadow of your name." Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. This is your home for captivating African folktales.